Okay, if you're watching this video, you've had your pieces patinaed. Of course, this is a demo video, so I don't have all of them patinaed. They're not really in a style or kind of a theme, but this is just to show you all the brads here. So the brads are located over where all the other embossing tools are. You can have large brads, which will look like that. You can have kind of medium-sized brads. These are like half domed that could be on there, or maybe you want what I call the baby brads on there, okay? I have on here, if you want to patina your brads, you can. So I've had students that have done it before, attaching it, excuse me, and then they said that the patina kind of wore off. So after you attach them, you can kind of add patina to it. So the first one I'm going to have you do is your lid. At this point, you've got your box together, but we're going to do our lid to practice. So inside the box is black. So that means I'm going to do my first embossed attaching here. So I'm going to do this one here, and I'm looking, it looks pretty good. If this bothers you that it hangs over the sides after you attach it, you can trim it. But I'm going to kind of look around here. I don't have anything really popped up. So now I'm going to attach my brad. So for this one, I wanted to show you all how the little baby brads look. So the steps I'm going to take here, you're doing it over and over and over again, okay? So you need to have your brads. You're going to have at least 4, 8, 12, 16. You're going to have 20 brads. You're going to want one of these. This is called a T-pin. Don't use a pencil or anything like that. This is for us to poke a hole through the metal into the mat board, and then we're going to put the brad in. So here we go. So I like to just hold it, so you're not going to put your finger behind it. You don't want to stab your finger, and you don't want to put it really close to the edge because it's going to fall off, and you don't necessarily want to put it all the way in here. So since I know it's going to be small, I'm going to kind of put it here. What I'm going to do is I'm like wiggling as I'm pushing in, okay? So I push through, but the problem is the T-pin is round. The brad is not. The brad is like, let me see if I can get this closer. Kind of. It's kind of flat, like a little rectangle. So what we have to do is, this is the big part, you have to hold close, and you're just going to wiggle back and forth. So we're opening that hole up a little bit bigger, because this brad, I mean, it should fit right in. Like, I'm barely having to press. Excuse me. It's flush. It's all the way to the surface. And then with these, you can just fold the two pieces over, and you're done. You got a brad. Do it again. I kind of like to go on the opposite end to make sure everything's touching okay. So I'm going to make sure it's all lined up. I'll hold it. So I'm wiggling and slowly pressing through, okay? So that one went through, but we're not done. We got to wiggle back and forth to open it up. Take it out. Try it with the brad. If it does not go through very easily, you need to open your hole up a little bit more. So I got 2. And do another one. Pop through. So you don't want to hold it back here when you're doing this, because it's going to bend your metal. So you want to get as close as you can. Just be gentle with it. Push it through. Spread the sides. I've got 3 done. Now I only have to have 1 more. And I have you do all 4 corners to really make sure that your embossing is not going to go anywhere. Got 1 more. And we're done. So we've got 2 brads, and that's how tiny the little baby ones are. So if you wanted to come in here and put some patina, some Sharpie, some paint, something over the brads to change the color, you can do that, okay? This one's the easiest. This is why I have you start with this. You're gonna put that aside. Now we're gonna do the box. This is the trickier one. All the ones that are towards the bottom, they're gonna be fussy, but everybody ends up able to do it. So I'm gonna grab my piece. I'm gonna line it up just like the other ones. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do these. So I'm gonna do the top two first because those are gonna be the easiest. So I'm holding it together really close up here. Got my T-pin. And you wanna hold this in the air as you're wiggling and pushing it through. Do not push like this. You can break your box. Okay, so I've got it through. I need to wiggle. I'm gonna check my brad. It goes through okay. Split them apart. I got one. I'll do it again. Also, I'm doing this very, very fast because I've done it a lot of times. So I'm gonna move this a little bit. I'm gonna go to the corner. Again, I'm bracing. There we go. Wiggle. Push through. Spread these out. And now I've got the two brads. The ones down here are fussier because you have to hold. So obviously you can't get all the way down there with your thumb, but you can support it with your middle finger. So I'm putting my middle finger as far down as I can to support it. And I'm gonna line my T-pin up. And I'm using my middle finger so that I don't crush my box here. So I'm gonna wiggle, push it through. Now this one can be kind of tricky getting all the way to the bottom. So if you don't want to spread both of them out, you can just push it all the way over on one side. I'll do the last one. Push this through, wiggle. So the wiggle is the best way to get these brads through and get your embossing done quickly. So we've got this side, and I'm just gonna keep going here. So again, this side is missing patina, so I would want to do that before I add this, but now I'm gonna go ahead and do some of the big ones here. So since I know this is gonna be big, I'm gonna wanna make my hole a little bit further in. So I'm gonna hold it, push and wiggle, wiggle back and forth. And as you're doing this, if you're like, well, this isn't working, it's kind of driving you nuts, you got to put a little bit of pressure on there, okay? If you just barely push, it's not going to do it. So you just want to support it. Put another brad in here. Come on. Spread it apart. And as you're spreading apart, if something pops up, you can cut it, but do it facing down to your table so it's not going to fly into the eye of the person next to you. Okay, so I got those two. Again, I'm going to take my middle finger, go as far to the corner as I can, wiggle and push, make that hole bigger. These bigger ones are a little tricky. See how I accidentally bent that one? So just easy does it. I think I'm going to go ahead and widen this a little bit more because it wasn't going through very well. There we go. You got that one. I'm going to push that over inside like that. And I'm going to do one more. Got my middle finger on the inside. And push, rock back and forth. Man, so sometimes the big ones can be a little fussy because they're so long. If that happens, it's not doing what you want it to do, you can pre-trim them. Okay, so if you look, these are a little bit longer, so if you want to trim them a little bit before you use them, you can do that. Okay, so I think the video's getting kind of long, but that's how you do the brad. So I only have 2 more sides to do. Again, I'd want to add patina on this one. These other 2 are pretty good. I'd probably add a little bit of the ground, kind of some details in the smoke, and then you're good to go.